Hello, Jocelyn Sia here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you are all doing well. Today is the beginning of what I hope to be a series of videos to share with you. Back when I started my Instagram account, I thought I was the only female Bond fan out there, and over time, over the last 9 months here, I have discovered that that is not the case. So, today, I am excited to present to you the first of many interviews of ladies who bond.
Our first guest today runs a series of amazing photos and entertaining videos on Instagram. It's an account that will make you laugh. Today, we have two special guests at the moment. The lady behind the Birb, JamesBirb. Welcome, Melanie, and welcome, Birb.
Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you for being here. It's really exciting to have both of you on here.
He's very excited.
Oh, yay! He's so cute. For those who aren't familiar with your account, could you please share with us what your account is all about?
It's strictly for fun. The whole Birb account started. I feel like a lot of accounts, we had all of this extra time with the pandemic. Everything sort of shut down. We weren't allowed to leave our houses. And so I had extra free time. I was chatting back and forth with some friends, and they were asking for photos and video of Birb. How's Birb doing? Send us a video. And I think everyone at that time was just looking for escape, something to bring a smile. And so I started the account strictly for a handful of girlfriends as a joke. Like, they know that I'm a huge Bond fan, so they know that that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I jokingly said, "Oh, I'm going to start an Instagram account for Birb." And they're like, "Do it, do it." So I went ahead and did it. And then when they saw what I, named the account, they were howling laughing. And I just kept going with the whole spy parody. It's a parrot parody. And at this point, I'm just having a ball with it. I crack myself up, I think, more than I make other people laugh. And it just really makes my day when I know that they're having a good time with it. And, and now I have other followers who are getting a laugh, and I'm bringing a smile to their faces as well. And Birb has been enjoying all of the extra attention as well.
Oh, that's great.
Oh.
Can you tell us a little bit about Bird? What kind of bird he is, how old he is, and
He is a Senegal parrot. So he's originally an African bird. He was hatched and raised here in the States from a breeder. And I've always loved animals. I've loved birds. And I got him as a little baby 23 years ago. He's going to be 24 coming up in a couple months. So
how long do they live?
25 to 30 years.
Oh, okay.
So he's a more mature bird.
He seems pretty active though for a mature bird.
Yeah, he still does his tricks. I'm going to see if I can get him to do one right now. So we'll see if he cooperates. All right, stay. Whoop, there you go. You're a good fella. There he goes.
There's a really popular video on your Instagram account of him whistling the Bond theme song. How did you teach that to him?
I think, and it's funny because I know some people really train their pets. I have never done that as far as rewarding him with seeds or doing click training or anything like that. He's just a sweetheart. So the little headstand that you saw him do, he's really playful. He's very cuddly. And he and I found that out one day. I saw a photograph of someone else who had done it with their bird. And, I feel like some animals are just so loving and willing to please But especially with parrots, when it comes to the whistling, it's strictly repetition. So if I whistle something over and over again, he picks it up and he whistles it back. And he has about 24 songs that he whistles at
Oh
any
wow.
given time. So it's whenever the mood strikes. I can't make him, just like, I can't make him. I didn't do click training. So it's whenever he feels like singing it. But I will say, though, the song that he sings the most is the James Bond song. So that one is his favorite. I did not force that on him. It's his favorite.
And doesn't he normally sings it when he's up to no good?
Yes, I can always. You are correct. You are correct. If I leave the room for a minute, and then all of a sudden I'll hear a rustle, and then I'll hear doo 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 doo. I know he's into something. He's on a mission. That's all him. That's all him.
He's so cute.
Oh, thank
So
you.
adorable.
Thank you very much. I'll show off his colors for you. He's very chill right now. So.
And I know you've got some projects going on with other people in the Bond community.
I have, and I was not expecting that at all. And it has really been a godsend to meet all of these other members of the Bond community and be a part of that. Getting invited to attend different virtual get togethers, whether it's, book club and talking about the Fleming novels, or the bonding online that you've hosted with some other folks. It's been such a joy because I'm a natural extrovert, and then with everything sort of being shut down, it was so great to have that outlet. But the sort of the collaborations that we've been doing, I was contacted by a fellow who's in London, England, who is a Bond fan and just really, really enjoyed the Birb page. Chris with British Bond Addict. And so we've done quite a few collabs together. And then now working with a few other people on a few side projects as well.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see all of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, I can't. He's so fluffy.
He's very relaxed. He poofs up when he gets really relaxed. So.
Oh, that's great. All right. Now I know you said that Birb has to go on a mission, right?
He does.
Soon.
Birb is going to go on a mission, so he's going to tweet goodbye.
Okay.
You would, and by his demeanor in our interview, you'd never expect that he actually gets up to no good. But he does. He's just very chill right now. I think he's ready for happy hour.
All right. Well, I'll let you debrief Birb on his next mission, and then we'll be back in a few moments.
Birb, this is Brit. Do you copy? Look, I know you're supposed to be on scheduled leave right now, but we've just had word of a contract killer in your area, and he's got your tail. We don't know anything about him apart from his name, which is Jaws. Does that mean anything to you? If it does, try and get in contact with me using my regular number, extension 9. I'm going to see if I can get visual on you both using the CCTV. Stay safe and let me know. Brit, out.
And while Birb is out on a mission, I think this is a great opportunity to get to know Melanie better. So welcome back, Melanie.
Hi.
Could you tell everyone a little bit about your introduction to Bond?
Sure. My dad introduced me to Bond at an earlier age, but I've loved just the spy genre in general ever since I was a real young child. My first movie in the theater when I was a toddler was The Rescuers. So I loved the books. I had the record, Bernard and Bianca going in to rescue Penny and sneaking around. And then later it was Harriet the Spy, and have you seen Hyacinth Macaw? I loved mysteries and just spy books. And I remembered Mission Impossible. That, of course, came out before I was born, but it was in syndication. So I used to watch the reruns on television. And I think it might have been my very, very first exposure to Bond was Live and Let Die, where I have a much older brother and sister. They were home from college for Christmas, and we all gathered around the TV, and Dad rented the movie, and we watched it. And I grew up in Louisiana. So the fact that there was a spy in Louisiana chasing around in the bayou, I was over the moon. I was sold. And my dad and I had daddy-daughter nights where we would watch movies together once a week. And we'd go to the video store. Sometimes I'd pick out probably like a Disney flick or something like that. And I think my dad from time to time would pick out like, one of his favorite movies. And so I started watching Bond at a very young age with my dad. And what really attracted me to it was just the action, the excitement. In every movie, the guy gets the girl, which, the mission is over, good conquers over evil. So I loved it. A lot of that stuff that I think upsets women in particular went straight over my head at that age. I really didn't get it until I went back when I was much older, high school, college age, and went back and rewatched it and was sort of taken aback by some of that stuff. Because as a kid, it was action, it was the whole, and I think so many movies are like that. You've got the good guys, you've got the bad guys, action movies. Like I said, guy gets girl. I was all about it. And I've always loved spy and mystery because it has that element of realism to it. And I realize that Bond is, of course, fantastical, but I always like the spy genre more so than like science fiction or fantasy, dragons, unicorns, things like that. I always really kind of like that because as I grew older, and especially in history class in school, and you realize how much espionage is at part in our American history and world history, how big of a part it's been in the world wars, how important it was. And so I just ate every little bit of it I could get up.
That's really interesting that that espionage, you find that more interesting than sci-fi. What about the Bond franchise like has pulled you in? And I mean, like, you saw Live and Let Die as your first movie, but what about it kept you going, staying interested in that in the Bond series versus other series? And
Sure. Well, and I think it isn't entirely exclusively Bond. I love the Avengers, the old Avengers, with Steed and Emma Peel.
right.
Get Smart. I mentioned Mission Impossible. James Bond. I think I feel as for just the entire spy genre, James Bond is sort of the cream of the crop. You don't have you don't have any other spy that's like James Bond. I mean, some imitate. I really like the team aspect of Mission Impossible. I love that you had an entire team. Um, I loved the Avengers or the Man from U.N.C.L.E., where they're partners. But just that he's kind of going about this, for the most part, solo. The action that's involved in it. Of course, when you're talking about a film versus television, you get the unbelievable stunts, the boat chases, the car chases, planes, all of the gadgets. That was another thing that I loved in Mission Impossible too. But all of the gadgets, you see that it's almost just like it's pumped up on steroids when it's in a film versus in on television. And so I
Yeah.
think that's really why, for me, Bond was sort of that pinnacle, like the best of the best of the entire genre.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. Um, um, so let's switch gears here. I mean, we know that your Instagram account is a parody, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that you are a I wouldn't like a big Bond fan, like not just I like James Bond, but you're a really big Bond fan, right? Do you have a Bond collection? Like because like I don't know a lot of ladies who are into James Bond, so I'm kind of like, what's in your collection and what do you collect? Or if you do collect,
I'm not a big collector,
Okay.
just in general.
Okay.
Um, as far as like trinkets or things of that nature, mementos. Uh, what's in my collection? I have all of the Ian Fleming books. Um, I love following Instagram accounts where everyone really curates that, where they don't just have, I have one of each of the Fleming books. That's it. I don't have multiples with all the different covers. They're used. The spines are cracked. They've been read. Um, I have several of the albums. I don't have all of them on vinyl, a couple of the CDs, and then the media, of course, the movies. And then I have a couple of just sort of James Bond books of like the posters of Bond, some of the photographs from um, behind the scenes making of the films. So I'm not really a huge collector, uh, but uh, but I am a collector of the media. Sort of the films get watched over and over again.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the parodies. I have the Austin Powers and
Oh.
I and the Get Smarts. I appreciate all of those as well. So I keep revisiting that, listening to the soundtracks, and now, of course, with the Fleming Reading Challenge, rereading the books as well.
um, I'm actually a big fan of Get Smart too. That's and funny is like I'm a big fan, but in that sense, I'm kind of like you, where I just have the big DVD box set that I just rewatch over and over and over again. But that's about the extent of my Get Smart collection.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make much sense to have a shoe phone, right?
No. So that would be really cool just to have people be like, "What is this shoe?"
That would actually be awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
Just no one has landlines anymore. Maybe we could create some type of shoe phone cover that might get bulky in your purse.
Yeah, a little bit. So another aspect besides collecting James Bond stuff is also the James Bond lifestyle. Do you incorporate any of the James Bond lifestyle into your life?
That's such a funny. You know what's funny about that though is I feel like and especially I never saw that world that
Mm.
much
Mm-hmm.
until starting um of course when quarantine and everything got locked down during the pandemic, that was when I really fell down the rabbit hole of Instagram accounts because I had never seen that sartorial aspect as much as through Instagram. Like I knew that the different brands of bonds and things like that, but it's funny because I feel as though men can incorporate that into their everyday lives a lot easier than women can, because we'd look
Yeah.
like idiots if we were running around in evening gowns like all the time. Like just, I mean, going back and looking at the series, I, the ladies' wardrobes, of course, you have the very high-end fashion. I feel as though the ladies' wardrobes, some of them, not all, but some of them get dated very, very quickly.
Mm,
You have some that are more classic looks, but especially when you're looking at like some of the full piece jumpsuits and oh my goodness, especially Tracy's looks on Her Majesty's Secret Service. They're divine, but um, I can't imagine most women romping around in that without being ironic. You know?
right, right. I mean, I love the sequined caftan at the very opening, but I mean that is so it's the time capsule of that era. Like I don't think I would look very good, running around in today's modern world wearing it.
Well, and for fashion, for women especially, it changes so quickly.
Yeah.
So even to find some of these looks can be really tough. When trying to recreate it, which yeah, I haven't really. I mean, other than just my love of it, I think if we're going to talk sort of Bond lifestyle, um, the fine dining, 100%. Love the fine dining. I live in the DC area, so I have a lot of that available. Even growing up in Louisiana, I mean, that's part of the culture. Great food. And that's something that you'd get from Bond. I love to travel. That's another passion of mine. So that aspect of the Bond lifestyle, I definitely identify with, loving to travel. I don't really get into, well, I do know how to sail. So I guess sort of
That's rad.
sailed around the British Virgin Islands, bareboat chartered a ship and did that. So a little bit of the adventure. Um, let's see. I think the other thing is the cocktails as well. Enjoying all of those cocktails. That I get into much more than sort of the sartorial dressing, like the characters, or pulling different pieces into my wardrobe. Those other aspects of sort of the Bond lifestyle. I love jewelry. I'm not wearing any now, so you wouldn't know it to look at me right now, but I do love jewelry. So whenever they break out some of the bling in the films, I always appreciate that. Um,
What?
and for
Oh, go ahead.
hobbies too. Oh,
No,
I'm
go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I was going to say just for hobbies in general, going to museums, culture, the opera, shows, different things like that, that I feel fits in very well with the Bond lifestyle.
Yeah. I think doing the culture and the arts, going to operas and symphonies and stuff. I mean, that's something that my husband and I do, and um, it feels really nice to get dressed up, and it feels like having that sartorial aspect of, but that kind of like that secret bond of like, okay, I'm gonna do these things and feel like I'm in a Bond movie. um, but if talking about women's clothing, if you could have any Bond woman's closet from all of the movies, like whose closet would you want to have?
I I'm going to put a little bit of a different spin on that question for my
Go for
answer.
it. Yeah.
I love, 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 and I know it's so over the top, Mayday. I love Mayday, View to a Kill. Oh my goodness. Would I ever be able to pull off any of those looks? No. So would I practically want her closet? Probably not. I might go for the beautiful couture, like a Severine gown or something for like a special occasion. But I love Mayday's style and fashion that just sort of epitomized the 80s style. where everything was very bold, and she really called attention to herself. She was really the center of attention. She looked gorgeous. And I would love to be that fearless in my wardrobe, but I am not. I wish I was more adventurous in my wardrobe. So if I could sort of take away anything from May Day, it would sort of be that just go with it. Don't care what anyone else thinks. I mean, she looked fantastic, but just to be a little bit more daring in the way that I dress.
She definitely was a great representation of the time period, and all those leotards that she wore, and I just the way that, like, she had quite a few outfits that she wore a hood, and it framed her face so beautifully, and it kind of, in that sense, it also made her very gathered a lot of attention because she was so hidden and mysterious from everyone that you're just like, ooh, I want to know more about this person. And yeah.
It's fantastic. I love to watch like the runway shows and such, and you see this real high-end conceptual haute couture, which I think a lot of girls look at that and wish they could be a model, and just these fantastic gowns. But then there's kind of going back to the sense of practicality behind a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, where would you wear that to? You really need a special occasion. I really don't think half those gowns I could get away with, like, at a night at the Kennedy Center. Like, I'm not walking down a red carpet. So.
um well, in addition to all of that, as a female Bond fan, let's talk about like about products. Do you I mean, we've talked about this before, just, person to person, but it seems like that there isn't a lot for women to either collect or to wear, um in relation to the Bond franchise. What would you like to see more of, like things that you would actually buy, or things that you would want to wear, or things that you want to see, that would be available, that they should make available for women fans?
I have a little bit of beef with Omega. um, because I would love to see more ladies' watches uh, translated from the men's styles. Because there's so many of the men's watches that are featured in the film that I personally would love to have, that look ridiculous, just proportionately look ridiculous on my wrist. They don't have a lot of men and women versions of their watches. I know the Constellation series is beautiful for the women, but as far as the ones that are actually featured in the films, the jewelry, I was absolutely mad about the Sophie Harley pieces from Casino. And I know you and I have discussed personally the Swarovski pieces from Skyfall. I would love to see more of that. I love that you did a review on the sunglasses recently. That's really exciting. I think more accessories, more clothing. It would be nice to have a little bit more of the sartorial aspect that the men get for the ladies. And I really appreciate accounts like Bond on a Budget, who's been going in and finding practical women's alternatives, because a lot of times the actual women's pieces that you see in the film you can't find. Uh, so I
Yeah,
like that account's been really working on trying to do something for the lady fans.
I mean, I think the only thing that is available is the Tom Ford safari jacket that Nomi wears, but a lot of the other outfits, like in No Time to Die, for example, they were all bought off the rack from the summer spring collection of last year. and a lot of those companies only make a certain amount and they're completely sold out. I guess it would be nice if there was more collaboration between brands where they make the piece available, like NPL. I think NPL is probably the only company that has a shirt from the movie that we can buy, but that's one shirt versus how many Tom Ford suits do the men have available to them, or even the Tommy Bahama shirt, where they made a whole bunch, they sold out, and they made a whole bunch more because they knew that there is a market for it.
And I think that that has to do with probably going back to what we were talking about earlier, where just women's fashion in general changes so quickly. Um, as you said, so much of it's pulled off the rack when they're
Yeah.
filming, and by the time the movie comes out, it's outdated. I mean, because of just ladies' trends. I think that's a bigger issue with the fashion industry in general. And maybe it is something where we can sort of delve into that a little bit more with the accessories. Because I feel like I get a longer lifespan out of my accessories that I purchase than my clothing. My clothing, some of the pieces that I own, after a year or two, it goes off to Goodwill because you just don't see those trends anymore, the style. And that is if you're a woman who really keeps up to date with the fashion trends.
Right, right. I think I agree with you on the accessories, because even for me, like I have one pair of Sophie Harley earrings, and they go with everything. Like a casual look, amazing. Like decked out to the nines, amazing. Like those, I think maybe it would be nice to have more access to that, or if seeing them do more collaborations. I think the last time, or the only time, has been those Zwarovski, that collection, and then I would have loved to see something for No Time to Die, but I don't think there's any jewelry available, right? I don't think so.
Not that I've heard of
But yeah,
that's been specifically like pushed.
I mean, even in Spectre, we have the David DeYoung earrings that Leia wears. They're really small and they're hexagonal shape. So at least there was one piece that we could, and you can still buy. Um, but it'd be nice if there was more, huh?
And I think certain brands too, it's they're looking at and we've chatted about this as well. There are women Bond fans out there, but we are definitely outnumbered.
Yeah.
So I know, like when I go to Amiga or things, they have things that are unisex, or like Swatch. I feel the proportions are better with their watches that are unisex than the unisex watches in Omega, because I try them on and they're just if you have smaller wrists, they're just too much. They're very heavy as well. So, but yeah, it would be fun to get, like, I don't know, a line of handbags or something.
Well, I think there is one line of handbags coming out for the new movie, but it's a bit pricey. That's all I have to
Well, like
say.
like the Sophie Harley love knot was not. You
Yeah,
know?
that's true. But then if we're comparing like the lifespan, like I would rather buy the love knot over a purse. Like the lifespan of that love knot is worth way more, I think. Um, I don't know.
Well, it's what you're into. I love
Yeah, that's
like
true.
I love purses, and I'm like, my friends are like, you're kind of the Imelda Marcos of shoes, right? I love shoes too. That's another thing. I those are jewelry, handbags, and shoes. And again, I feel it's because you can get so much more wear out of those than the clothing.
Right. Yeah, definitely agree with you there. um, so out of curiosity, since there aren't a lot of female fans out there, um, we don't really get to hear a woman's perspective, female's perspective of the Bond franchise. What are your thoughts um, about the women represented in the franchise?
Hit or miss. Very hit or miss. I feel like there are some fantastic female characters. There are some that I don't particularly care for. But I think one of the beautiful things about Bond as a franchise is, we're coming up now on the 25th film. There is something for everyone. And that's something I've found, because some of the Bond women that I haven't cared for at all, I'll speak to another female fan and she will have loved that character.
Mm.
So I think even within women, we're looking for different things. Not every woman is looking for a very empowered, strong, tough lady. Some are looking for the very graceful, demure, um, femme fatales. Some like the bad girls. So the fact that there's so many different Bond women that female fans can pick and choose from as their favorites, I think is fantastic. So overall, I mean, and again, everyone's going to be very, very subjective when they talk about this. I personally have never cared for the damsel in distress. Personally, I don't care for that. Yet I have girlfriends who love the idea of being swept off their feet by like the hero or the knight in shining armor. So again, it's purely preference. That's never been a character that I've cared for. I love the stronger ladies. I mentioned Mayday earlier, a Pam Bouvier. um, and I also love the female agents that we see. Jinx, Wei Lin, Anya, Amasova. I'm probably butchering, but I like those characters. Natalia, that we've seen before in GoldenEye, like where she's not really an agent, but the Bond girl who sort of falls into the middle of things and ends up helping him on the mission. I really love that. Pussy Galore is another one of my favorites. Domino, looking back throughout the whole series, I feel I've always kind of leaned more toward the stronger, a little bit more independent females.
So, in terms of women being represented in the franchise, what advice would you give EON in representing women?
Well, I think that they've done a fair representation of different types of women to appeal to different types of women, which I sort of touched on in the last question. But sort of what advice, if I could sort of make my own movie, I would love to see. I'm super excited about No Time to Die that we get a female 00. I've always wanted a female 00. We've only gotten to see 006 so far in the films. And I know in Fleming's books, we get to see some of the other 00s. I would love to see some more female 00s. I love it when Bond is working with other agents, and I would love that to be women. And I feel like in other franchises, they've sort of done that. Like, I'm not a really big comic book person, but you have Superman and then you have Superwoman. You sort of have some of those female counterparts, and I would love to see a female counterpart of Bond. And we've gotten to see a little bit of that with Moneypenny. To a degree, I loved having a female M with Judi Dench. That was fantastic. So I think my advice going forward might be, let's see some more 00s. Whether they're female or male, I want to see more 00s.
All right. So We've actually spoken quite a lot. It's been really enjoyable speaking with you and just talking Bond with another woman. It's a real treat for me. But
Likewise.
I'd like to end with a final question, kind of similar to a Dear Abby situation, asking for practical life advice in the Bond world. But I'm going to call it Dear Moneypenny.
I love it. I love it already.
Okay, so Dear Moneypenny, my current love interest has never seen a James Bond movie. Which movie should I use as their first introduction to James Bond?
What I would say is, if you're doing the date planning, definitely consider who you're going to be taking on the date. Uh, since this is going to be their very first introduction to Bond, I would try to match it with some of their interests. So if you know your date, maybe they came from Russia. Maybe you would want to go with a From Russia with Love and sort of theme that, served up a little vodka. Now, if a fellow was taking me out, I would be very flattered if we had a Louisiana live and let die date. I think that would be great fun. Maybe eat some oysters and have some good Cajun food and drink some Sazeracs. And try to pair whatever Bond film you choose with something that they're already interested in. Maybe if somebody really loves Cuba, they love that culture, maybe a Die Another Day would be the right pick for them, you know? But I think it really depends on the person. Uh, you might have someone who really is not a fan of classic films, so you might want to stay away from, the more Lazenby, Connery era, and go with something more recent for them. So, or you might have someone who doesn't really like a lot of fast-paced action and likes a slower build in their film, in which case I'd say go with one of the classics. So I think the key thing is customizing the Bond date uh, for your love interest.
Those are some great words, great advice.
Good for any date, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Melanie, I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me over James Bond and the Bond franchise. It is a real treat to interact with another female fan. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm so glad we got to meet each other and get to know each other through our Instagram accounts. This has just been such a blessing to really get to see the Bond community. I was on message boards years ago, MI6, and to having sort of this virtual world open up so much more is just, it's just been such a treat. It really has been a godsend during sort of what's kind of a dark and depressing time overall. It's been really a treat. Thank you.
Yeah. Show Melanie some love. You can follow her on her Instagram account under Birb.JamesBirb. I'll link it in the description below, so you guys can follow her. And if you aren't following me already, please do. And I look forward to talking more Bond with everyone. So thanks everyone for watching. Be safe. Take care. Until next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.